well, he took her life, yes, but he took her life based upon the evidence of her conviction. And her conviction is that she believed in Jesus. Her conviction is that she knew that anything wrong was the barometer of good, which is evil. She stood for that. Now here we are, we're at a precipice, you all. We're at the cliff. What are we going to do? Are we going to stand? Are we going to come together in unity? This is not a time that we call to defund the police, but it's a time of reformation. It's a time that we can stand together and say, this is what we need to look at. Possibly police officers having degrees. I was reading in one of the longitudinal research at Michigan, and Michigan did a study where they found out that police officers that were degreed in the liberal arts had less infractions.
That's right.
We're going to have to stand in a way that's going to show the evidence of what we believe. We got to have mentality, our humanity, because that's the only way that things can change. Listen, I want to encourage you on believing in humanity, regardless of what we say. Humanity, I believe in humanity. I wouldn't be who I am today if I didn't believe in it.
And with the wishes of the family, we know there's a lot of different ways to share your spirituality with each other, and it may not be the way that we do, and that's okay. We're standing together, and I love that what you said is about unity, and that's what we need more of, unity. So thank you so much. So also we would like to start with at a lot of our events we do the Black National Anthem, and so we want to start with that today. So if you would please stand, and we were going to play our music, and Devontae's going to lead us in the Black National Anthem.
Everyone standing. If you know it, please sing along. Lift every voice and sing. Lift every voice.
Sing.
Sing. Till earth and
Let's march on. Let us march it.
Someone who none of us know personally had their life taken unjustly. Now, we know that a few things things are gonna happen. The cop's been fired, right? He's been arrested, right? He may be convicted, right? But what is the time that he's gonna serve once he's convicted? How do we make sure that these police officers and anybody else who takes someone's life are held accountable to the same standards that we're held accountable to? Because those slaps on the wrist, those don't do anything for my kids who are growing up and basically living in the same society that I've had to live in. Now, we've been doing this marching and protesting stuff for a long time. Sonya Massey was 36 years old. She was 36 years old.
Here we are again, mourning another recent departed sister, now ancestor. Say her name. Say her name. Say her name.
Sonya Massey.
Corinne Gaines. Brianna Taylor. All those women were in their abode. They were in their dwelling, their choice of paradise. And this woman was murdered.
Yes, she was.
She was assassinated. She was annihilated, eliminated without prejudice. The 21-foot rule was not acknowledged. He did not step back 21 feet. How are you a police and you can't shoot anywhere but the face? I have questions. You can't shoot the shoulder.
That's right.
You can't shoot the leg.
And get Burger King for mass white murderers.
I'll feel you, sister. Here in the great state of New Mexico, we have just had a shooting with a Native American. And my question to America is, are you waiting until we are but a few and can't fight, and then you gonna care?
That's right.
Stop re-traumatizing me.
Yes.
Stop re-traumatizing us. My wife one day came outside, and I speak about my wife because I love her and she's really pretty, amongst other things. But as I was outside about 30 minutes in my rocking chair, I was cool. She came out for about 5 minutes, and she was stung 3 times. So I said, okay, we need to go in the house. She checked and had doubled, tripled. And I said, oh, you were stung a few times. In her anger, the house became imbalanced. Because she was inflicted, I was afflicted. When a woman becomes inflicted, we as a people become afflicted.
Yes. Yes.
And we keep inflicting the same wound on each other.
Yes.
Where is the humanity?
But this last incident, we got a young lady lost her life, Sonya Massey. She wouldn't be here, or the officer who killed her would be out and walking the street freely right now if another man was involved. So it's big, y'all. We got to get out there. We got to be heard. We got to attack the problem. I don't know what betrayal is. I've been fighting for my people forever, and I ain't stopped fighting. Anytime there's something, I'm here, and I don't plan on going nowhere. A lot of people are afraid to go and have a conversation with the people that are hurting us. If you're afraid to go and attack the problem, you're never gonna get it fixed.
We should know Sonya's name. I should know that Sonya was born February 12, 1988 in San Diego, California. I should know that. I should know that she left this earth July 6, 2024, being murdered by a cop. I shouldn't know that she has a son named Malachi Hill Massey and a daughter named Jeanette Massey. I shouldn't know that. we shouldn't know that she was a daddy's girl. And as her father said, every time they ended a phone call, she would say, I love you, Daddy. We should know that. We should know Sonya Lene Wilburn Massey. But yet now her name is another one that we have to write in the notebook filled with black humans who have been murdered at the hands of the police. Now we have to remember her with the rest of them. Now we have to know her name. Now we have to say Sonya Massey. Now we have to add her to the collective. Now we have to see our sister's face on billboards. Now her son and daughter has to remember her from what she used to be, because at 36 she is gone. Now we have to remember.
Come on now.
Now we have to see.
Come on.
Now we know. You know, people talk about the last thing that she said. One of the last things that she said was, you know, I rebuke you in the name of Jesus. But I like to remember one of the first things that she said when the officers got to her door. Do you know what Sonya said? Please don't hurt me.
Oh. Ooh.
She said, please don't hurt me. And yet, our sister did not come out of that situation alive. She was murdered by the very man who looked her in her face and said, why would I hurt you? You called us. Yet he shot her in her kitchen. Ruthless. And we know now that it was from a downward angle. We know that now. For over 12 generations, black people have been in an abusive relationship with America.
That's right.
For over 12 generations, we tried to fit in and get in, be quiet, stand up. None of it has worked. None of it. For over 12 generations, we have pleaded, see me, see us, I'm a human.
Yes.
But still today, no one values our lives. No one. Every time I come out here, I see the same faces. I'm tired. I'm gutted. I'm exhausted. I don't know what else to do. I have nothing in me left to give.
Oh, but
I know you feel the same way. Right now, it's not if it's going to happen to us. It's when everyone's close to someone that they know that has been victimized by the police. I see your faces. I know your stories out there. I know stories in the audience right now who have members in their family who have been victimized by the police. It's not if, it's when. It's not it may, but it's when will it happen to me. This is why we get nervous. This is why we get scared, because they view us as a collective already. One black person is just worthless like another black person. That's what they tell us every time they choose to take the life of a black human.
That's right.
That's what they let us know. They don't care. 12 generations, they do not care. 12 generations, we've been abused by what we call America.
That's right.
This dream wasn't for us,
Oh, now you're talking.
yet we're here. So what are we going to do about it? I'm not asking them to help us anymore. I'm saying, what are we going to do about it now?
Yeah.
I looked up the definition of a narcissist. Unreasonably high sense of their own importance. They need and seek too much attention and want people to admire them. People with this disorder may lack the ability to understand or care about the feelings of others. That is what America is. We're in an abusive relationship with America. America is a narcissist to black humans. America is a nuisance to black humans. So what we have to do is come together as a community and help each other.
Thank you. Yes.
You know, I never like to leave these things without giving action, because we need action. So what I'm telling you is to look around, look for your elected officials who are not here. Check it out. Remember your elected officials who don't bring up discrimination. Change that.
Yes.
Call your elected
officials and ask them about the George Floyd Act.
Thank you.
Ask them, what are you doing to help get the George Floyd Act passed? That's what I need to know.
Yes.
I'm sorry right now. I can't worry about the land. I can't worry about global warming. I need to know what you're doing to protect my life.
Yes. Yes.
Come on
I
now.
need to
Come
know
on,
what
girl.
you're doing to protect the life of my children.
Okay now.
I need to know what you're doing to protect the life of my children right now.
Yes, sister.
All right. All right.
Right now. I'm telling you, Sonya should have had somebody in her community that she could have called. I'm telling you, make calling the murderers, the biggest gang in America, make calling the police your very last resort.
Yes. Yes. 'Cause we got us.
We got us.
Mm-hmm.
They don't got us, but we got us.
Yes.
Get to know your community. I'm calling on all black humans to get to know each other. We may have differences, but collective together, we can make it. We've been doing this. We need to come together stronger now. We're tired now.
Yes, we are.
We need to come together, stay together, and take care of each other. Do you hear me?
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Do you hear me?
Yes.
It's on us to
Yes.
take care.
Let's all take a collective breath on that one. Because that is what's at stake. Our babies' lives. That's what's at stake. I have to say, and looking up and wanting to know more about Sonya Massey, of course, the first thing that pops up on Google is Wikipedia, right? Which we know we don't get our information from Wikipedia. But I stopped and looked at it and was shocked to see Sonya Massey had one sentence about her life.
Oh.
But the officer has a whole paragraph.
Oh.
A whole paragraph. So we can get to know him. But my sister has one sentence. So we can fix that, right?
Yes.
We can fix
Yes.
that.
Yes.
Family, anybody that knows her personally, go in there and edit it. Go in there and flood this with information about her. Not just one sentence. That left a feeling in my stomach. You know, she didn't have a Wikipedia page when she was alive. And what was chosen to add was more information about the officer that took her than her herself. Next up, our last speaker of the evening is Devontae Watson. Help me introduce, no introduction needed for Mr. Devontae Watson.
Yes.
Just have to say that. Give it up for Devontae Watson.
Well, take your time now. Take your time.
I rebuke you
Oh, see. Mm-hmm.
in the name of Jesus. This was the last statement uttered by Sonya Massey before she was tragically and fatally shot by the Sheriff's Department in Springfield, Illinois. This profound statement is one of the most powerful statements in Scripture because it calls out what is wrong, both spiritually and physically, and edifies what is wrong. I'm reminded of the words from Marvin Gaye. What's going on?
What's going on?
What's going on? Today we are gathered in that nature, rebuking what is wrong in the world, rebuking what is wrong in America. My friend, and I even go closer to say, my friend, rebuking what's wrong in New Mexico. Look at your neighbor and say, neighbor.
Neighbor.
Come on now, we came here to gather today. Neighbor.
Neighbor.
I rebuke injustice.
I rebuke injustice.
Neighbor, I rebuke racism. Neighbor, I rebuke hatred. In the context and the political climate that we are in today, I'm reminded, before I go any further, y'all know that I'm a preacher's kid. My beautiful mother here, Pastor Tammy, is here. I just want to acknowledge her. Joshua 3:1. After God's chosen people had a chosen purpose,
I didn't know that.
and they were called to cross the Red Sea, but yet they have rebelled against their purpose. They rebelled against their calling. They rebelled against their mandate. Yes, knowing that there was still more work to be done before they reached that promised land. Specifically, they needed to cross one more river, the River Jordan. Well, this resulted in them being in the wilderness for 40 years. And during that wilderness season of 40 years, there was an entire generation that came about. The Bible even talks about it. There arose a generation that knew not the Lord. This means that there arose a generation that knew not that their parents and their grandparents and their elders were brought out of captivity. There arose a generation that knew not that they were spared their lives. Yes, but just like today, there has now arisen a generation, some call them millennials, some call them Generation Z, because we now know that there is now a generation that arose that forgot all about our grandparents and our elders and our ancestors being enslaved.
That's right.
There has now arisen a generation that knew not that our grandparents grew up in something called Jim Crow.
That's right.
We have now found ourselves in a generation where we forgot that there was bloodshed to get the ballot to vote. For the possibility for somebody like you, for somebody like me to be gathered here today to live a better life here in America. But now we have a generation that has forgotten all about that. And now it's not that we refuse the ballot, but we refuse to vote.
We need somebody to vote for.
Following 2018 to 2016, 2008 to 2016, we thought that we had made it because change had finally made its way onto the White House, and we put the ballot in cruise control. Yes, forgetting that America never did reach that promised land because we still have one more river to cross. That river is redeeming our country, redeeming our state, redeeming America from the sins of what Dr. King called the triple threat of evil. Militarism,
Oh, yes.
capitalism,
Yes.
and racism.
Yes, brother.
But I do not fret that we will get there one day, because although we have not chosen this time has chosen us, and there is a mandate for every last one of us here today. A purpose of why we even exist. Let me break it down for you. Each generation has a call to action. Prior generations were called to end the enslavement of black people here in America. Prior generations to that, like my grandparents, were called with a mandate on that generation to pass something called the Voting Rights Act.
Yes.
To pass the Civil Rights Act.
Yes.
Now I ask you today, what is the purpose of our being here today? What is the purpose of our existence here today, knowing that there is still one more river that we have to cross?
Preach.
One of the prophetic voices here in America, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., in his final sermon, April 3rd, 1968, said that he has been to the mountaintop and that he has seen the promised land. I could only imagine what he saw. My friend, I believe he saw something like a Barack Obama serving as president of the United States.
Yes.
I believe he saw somebody like a Kamala Harris is serving as a vice president of these United States. I believe that he saw somebody like a counselor, Nicole Rogers, the city council.
Yes.
My friend, I believe he saw somebody like a Senator Pope serving New Mexico day in and day out for the people of New Mexico. My friend, I believe he even saw the George Floyd Policing Act reform being passed in our lifetime.
Woo! All right.
But that's why I'm still marching, holding yet steadfast to that dream. I'm a mountain climber.
All right.
And I'm not going to stop climbing until I get to the top of that mountain.
Thank you.
Oh yes, oh yes. You may call me names if you want to. You can try to stop me if you want to. I'll run you over. I'm a mountain climber.
Yes.
I expect stumbles to come in the way. Yes, I'm not perfect. I'm going to make mistakes along the way. Yes, I'm not perfect. I'm a mountain climber.
Oh, yes.
I expect stumbles to come. But I'm not going to let anybody stop me climbing that mountain until Sonya Massey gets justice.
Yes.
I'm not going to stop climbing that mountain until we get the George Floyd Policing Reform Act passed. I'm not going to stop climbing the mountain until the laws change and until Jim Crow policies end. Well, you may be asking. Some of you may be aware, didn't Jim Crow end decades ago? Well, let me tell you. Just how I said, every generation has a karma. Well, Jim Crow has some kids.
Yes, he has. I hear you.
The oldest son is called James Crow Jr. Esquire.
James Crow.
Yes, look at your neighbor and say, I'm not fretting, I'm not crying, because I'm a mountain climber.
I'm not fretting, I'm not crying.
Look at your other neighbor and say,
Neighbor.
I rebuke injustice. So today we should leave here today with a resolution, a Sonya resolution that says we are going to rebuke injustice when we see it. We are going to fight James Crow Jr. Esquire. And that we will elect the right people in the right offices to pass the George Floyd Policing Reform Act. This is our calling. This is our mandate. This is why we're gathered here today. Because it took somebody like Sonya Massey to reinvigorate us. Yes, to look in the mirror and recommit to what our destined purpose is. My Sonya resolution today is that I'm going to keep on climbing to get to the top of the mountain and to get what was rightfully promised to me in the Constitution. My Sonya resolution starts right here, right now, in 2024, so that I can stop something called the Project 2025. I'm a mountain climber. Oh yes, I'm going to keep on climbing. I'm going to climb that mountain so good like Michelangelo painted pictures. I'm going to climb that mountain like Beethoven composed music. I'm going to climb that mountain like Leontine Price sang at the Metropolitan Opera. Oh yes, I'm going to climb that mountain like Shakespeare wrote poems. Rest on, Sonya Massey. You made it to the promised land. No more suffering for you. No more hatred. My God, today.
Oh, yes. Yes.
No more brutality. No more injustice. While we're on this side of heaven, we're going to fight for your justice, because the arc of the moral universe is long, but it does bend towards justice. Oh yes, we are built for a time such as this. And I'm going to close like this because, like I said, I am a preacher's kid. We are built for a time such as this, and if God be for us, who in this entire world could be against us? Oh yes, because he walks with me.
Y'all right
he
now.
Talks with me.
Come on now.
And he says that I'm his own. He's my rock.
My salvation.
My will in the middle of the will. So all I have to say is, Sister Massey, take your rest. Good and thy faithful servant, well done. God bless you.
All right.
Give it up for Devontae one more time. used to call him Mr. President growing up, because he is definitely a Mr. President. All right, so I want to turn it back over one more time to Senator Pope, if he would come and join us. We want to hear from our leaders.
I ain't got nothing to do with that.
Help me welcome Senator Pope.
You know, I really came here to listen. You know, a lot of elected officials want to show up and talk, and that's not really what I like to do. But while I'm here, I do want to speak. You know, I'm tired of being here. I'm tired of watching the news. I'm tired of that list of names getting longer, right? And when we talk about it's going to happen here, it's already happened here, right? We know of families. We know of people who have lost their lives. It's happened in our community. Now, have we done some reforms? We have. But it still doesn't change the fact that people are still dying in our communities. That we have this divide between our law enforcement and the community. And for too long, it's a segment as if, especially people of color, as we're less than, or we are a threat, or our lives are not valued enough. And we have to change that. So, I agree with most everything that was said here. I'm not going to hide from that, especially when it comes down to holding elected officials accountable. You need to make sure, where are you at on these issues? What bills have you brought forward? What do you support? Now, there's some bills that I can support at the state level. I support the George Floyd Policing Act. Guess what? That's a federal bill, right? All I can do is send a letter and I support it. But in the meantime, what are we doing at the city level, the county level, the state level, right? And so we have an election coming up. So you need to see where your folks stand on these issues. I will tell you, we tried to do a bill in 2023. You can look it up. I believe it's Senate Bill 252. We looked at a bill looking at banning chokeholds, looking at use of force, holding police officers more accountable. And I can tell you that a lot of it was watered down. We got some of it done, some of it we didn't. Because there's this narrative that we can't fight crime and do public safety without holding people accountable. We have to stop that narrative, because what just happened, that's a crime too, right? That's a crime. So that's part of it. And so I think in this next session, we're already talking to folks who bring something forward. I asked folks to reach out to me, because guess what? I'm only one senator. And we're going to need more folks to get on board and pass some of these bills that are so important. Because once again, it's not that it's going to happen here. It's already happened here. I've talked to families. I've talked to people. I can tell you, I am happy that we've done some things in Albuquerque, like ACS, where police aren't always the first to show up. But we have to do it. And I have to tell you, it's not just legislation. We have to change the culture of serving us. We're talking about passing laws and accountability. But that's after the fact of someone being harmed or being killed, right? And so, I'm going to need your help. We're going to need your help. And we just got to talk, and we got to work together. I'm willing to do that. That's not political speech or anything. I hope that doesn't come across as that, because that's not why I'm here. I really didn't want to speak. I just want to listen to see what we can do for the community. But let's keep working together. And where we're going to need your help is when that session starts, 25. We need your voices, because we don't hear them. I understand folks are busy. I understand folks are working. But we're not hearing from the community. But guess who does show up? Right? Law enforcement.
Yes.
And agencies saying that they can't do this and they can't do their job and they need chokeholds, right? And look, I'll take the hits on it. I've already, they targeted me as I don't support law enforcement. But I just don't believe that you should have to harm or kill people to do your job.
That's right.
That's not public safety.
Thank you.
And I'll continue to do that.
Thank you.
All right? I'll just end and say, I got to make the election pitch and say, there are some folks you are dissatisfied with, and there might be folks you're not happy about voting for. two choices. You know, sometimes it's one. And so if we're talking about at the federal level, we're talking about the presidency, we're talking about Project 2025, we're talking about a president who's talking about full immunity, right, for officers. So you need to remember that. You know, it's going the other way. So I will say I'm proud of some of the things we've done in this state. We're one of the first states that got rid of qualified. We have that here in Mexico. But once again, it's not just the laws and the accountability. And I need your help because we have to figure out from a culture standpoint of people believing other people are listening, that they think they can get away with killing us.
Yes.
Look, I'll end it like this. I'm a state senator. I'm a retired Air Force officer. But I've never forgotten where I come from. And let me tell you something. If I drive down Central or I'm on the west side of Coors, a cop car comes behind me, I still get nervous.
Yep.
I do. It doesn't change anything. I'm not beyond that. So I've never forgotten that.
All right.
And those are conversations I have with my colleagues in the Senate. You know, I'm the first black state senator, but I don't want to be the only one. And we got to be at that table and have those conversations because they don't see it through that lens. They don't understand the life experience of everyone and what they're going through. So let's continue to work. I'm going to hang around here a few minutes if folks want to get my number and reach out, but I just want to continue working on this. This keeps happening again and again, and we have to work together.
All right. All right.
Thank you, Senator.
Thank you, Senator. Appreciate that. All right, so I think before we close, we'll do our healing activity. So if you want to help us pass out some of these, we're going to do a little bit of a grounding healing activity where we'll pass out some sticky notes with some pens, and we just share the pens with each other if you don't have one.